Cabbage is delicious. And right now I'm just doing the prepping. I've got that much in there done, as well as this. Have a whole lot more to go. I'm not adding water to make my fermented sauerkraut. It tastes great this way, guys. You're gonna have to try it. I almost forgot that I was gonna film this process, but I have all of this. That's still just plain old cabbage that I chopped up. Actually, that's probably about 4 or 5 medium-sized heads of cabbage, this full combo here. And I have a lot more cabbage to do. To this bowl, I added 2 tablespoons of pickling salt. Rob came out and helped me pound the cabbage. And it, as you can see, the salt, I did not add any water. This is dry cabbage. But with the salt and pounding it, then letting it sit a bit, it has shrunk way down. See, it's shrunk down quite a bit. So this is, as I mentioned, 2 tablespoons of salt, but I'm going to add more cabbage and another tablespoon of salt. It takes about 2 tablespoons per 4.5 cups of shredded cabbage. So it's a good way to remember it. All that cabbage we saw earlier is all gone. It's all in here. And this will be hopefully about a gallon of sauerkraut with enough room for the juice to float to the top of the container. And yes, I'd like to use maybe plastic for it, but I'll probably find one of my gallon jars, glass jars, to put it in. And I know a lot of people do use plastic, and yeah, it's food grade plastic. It had hot wing sauce in here at one time, but I think I'm gonna be a stickler and just stick with my gallon-sized pickle jars. But that's all there is to it. I'm going to add juniper berries from our tree. And if I have any caraway seed, I may sprinkle some caraway seed in here. And a little black pepper maybe. But that's all there is to making sauerkraut. This is going to be about a gallon. It's actually, it says 4 quarts there. And it was about 5 heads of cabbage, 5 medium heads of cabbage. And here are my juniper berries that I'm going to go ahead and put in here. See? Then I'm going to pound those up, add a little bit of the pepper. I don't have any caraway seeds. So, no caraway seeds. You can add any kind of spices you want, and it's going to taste delicious. I will show you what it looks like in the jar, and you know, I'm going to be able probably, can you see all the liquid? Yeah, you can see right there, all that liquid, and that's just from the cabbage and adding the salt. That's your sauerkraut juice right there. No water added. I could not find my 1 gallon jug, my pickle jar. Then I remembered I put flour in it. So, I know I have that. What I'm going to end up doing is putting all the sauerkraut in this 5-gallon container. But I wanted to fill that up, because we'll have plenty for at least a year that way. But this is what we have here. I have 1/2 gallon. And this is, I think, almost a half gallon, right at a half gallon, and a quart-sized jar. How much is it? I don't know. I can't read it. But anyway, this is like a half gallon size, and this is a regular quart. And you can tell here I put a piece of lettuce leaf in here, and that's to help to keep everything submerged nicely, because that way you have less mold that you don't want in your sauerkraut. So this one here I kind of left this way, and of course I wash it, but I want to cover that so none of the solid can get in. It's going to bubble, so don't fill it up all the way. This may even be a little too full. I'm going to end up putting these on a cookie sheet because they will not be refrigerated for at least 10 days to a month, depending on how strongly flavored we want the sauerkraut. So, and this one, same thing. After that, then we can put it in the fridge. But basically, I did this for you. I'm going to probably take this to California with me tomorrow or in a couple of days, give it to my girlfriend. And this, honestly, will probably get poured into this big 5-gallon container, and I'm just going to keep making batches of cabbage. Okay, it's been close to 2 weeks now, and I wanted to show you, because I forgot last time, how I prevent mold from happening on the sauerkraut. And as you can see right here, we don't have any, and that is because for a jar this size I used a full gallon, one of the full big gallon size Ziplocs, and inside of there is brine, salt water. See right here is salt water. Whoa, there you go, see? And our sauerkraut actually looks great. And it did bubble and boil itself right out the top here and all down and made a nice wet mess, a sauerkraut mess. But that's okay. But I wanted to show you this because I forgot about the brine, and the brine I did put the same amount of salt in and added water until the whole area inside here was down, so there was no food particles floating to the top. And it's a beautiful color. And see right here, you can see the caraway seed. And I'm thinking it's going to taste pretty good. So anyway, I'm going to let it sit a little longer, but I wanted you guys, I was just checking it. Haven't checked it since I got back from my trip from California, which was like 3 days ago. And I had made it a couple of days before we left. So I know it was about 2 weeks instead of the 10 days. So I want to check it out. So I think I'm going to kind of very carefully, because I have a metal spoon, and you got to be really careful with anything metal and glass. It's best not to use it if you don't have to. I'm going to try to mix it a bit so that I can move it around a bit more. I pulled out some sauerkraut, as you can see right here. It looks really good. And I rinsed the plastic Ziploc bag off. Oops, I had to stick this back inside, guys. Okay. It already had the water in it. So now what I did is I just opened it up, set that back in, and if I need to, I can take this bag and scoot it all around to make sure everything, sorry about that, everything is submerged. See? So you can see where that bag is on top. And right here, you can see that I cleaned off the sauerkraut that was here. I did have a little piece of sauerkraut on the outside of the bag. I just took it off just before, right after I turned off the camera. But this is another way to hold the fruit or whatever you're fermenting down under so oxygen doesn't get to it to create bacteria and molds. Okay, but another reason to add salt water to the bag is so that if you do spring a leak, if the bag does end up leaking, it's the same salt that you used for your sauerkraut to begin with. So that's okay. I'd rather have it that way than have diluted sauerkraut juice from just plain water. Another thing I wanted to mention before I get off is if you have to do a low sodium diet, whatever, you can eat smaller amounts, and 2, you can rinse your sauerkraut in water and rinse that extra salt out. Yes, some of the flavor goes away, but that's just the nature of the game here, you know, but you have to have the salt to make the sauerkraut. So if you have low sodium and need a diet, then you do need to rinse the sauerkraut off, and it'll rinse away a lot of that salt. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, and share. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.